Okay, good afternoon. Today I'm going to orient you to entering facts into your knowledge base and the facts panel or the facts editor. Let's first look at the editor. There's a few key parts. First part is that you have a fact type. There is three types that a fact can be. A thing type, which is kind of like a template. It defines characteristics for a thing. So let's say I want to enter things about people. I want to enter people in my knowledge base. People, the individuals, would be called things, but the definition of person, like what I want to capture about the people, like their height, their weight, their birth date, that is a template, and that template we call a thing type. It's also called class or entity if you're familiar with database modeling. General facts are things that don't fall into those two categories, like maybe the definition of what height is or the definition of a name. And there is the bottom part is there's a built-in dictionary into EZKB, it's WordNet, and you can define things, and that helps in matching later on. There's also the ability to reuse existing subjects. It's important not to recreate things, but instead to reuse a thing. So every unique concept in EZKB gets an identifier, and you want to reuse things. If I talk about a specific person, you want to keep recreating people. You want to have, say, everything you want to talk about a specific person always uses a single ID. We'll demonstrate that. So let's say we want to create some information about a budget. So we're going to start out with an important part of that would be once you actually buy things, you need to determine whether it complies or conforms with your budget. So let's start with purchase. So I say I want to create a subject, and you'll notice that the pattern is subject, predicate, object, and that follows a sentence. So I'm going to say a purchase, and I'm going to define a characteristic. So I reuse a special one called has a. There's also a special one called is a, which you'll see later on to create things. Right now we want to talk about creating the template, so most of the time you're going to use has a. So I said reuse that. And now I want to say a purchase has a vendor, which is a string, like a vendor name. I'm going to add that fact. Facts work like a set of cards, like you're paging through them or going first, previous, next, last, etc. So as an example, when I want to go to the first fact, which is the one I just entered, click on vendor, and now I get the ability to define that. So I say I want to define vendor. We'll search for the definition. There's only one in this case. There'll be more. I want to click that definition and then say define. Now you'll see what's happened here is each time you add a fact, you'll see it show up in your table. Now this has not been saved yet. Right now these facts are just in memory. To actually save them to disk, you see it says save needed. Right now they're all stored in a file called a KBML file, knowledge base markup language, which is an XML document. I'm going to call this test facts. Save that. So facts successfully saved to this file. Let's enter some more. Clear my fact. So now I'm going to go ahead and enter. Oh, don't want to retype purchase. I want to reuse purchase. Has. Now we're going to say it has a date that the purchase occurred on. But now this is a different data type. So you see you enter the data types down here, and there's lots of different ones. Decimal, Boolean, images. So this is an actual date, and we want to add that. Now, if I go to that fact, date, we can go ahead and define that definition of a date. We'll search for it. See, it brings up several definitions. You got to pick which one you want. We want this one, the particular day, month, or year that an event occurred. So then you say define. Now when you look at your table again, you see it's creating all the facts, and see it says date defined as, which is a special one. All our special ones started with $1. Those are like built-in predicates or built-in subjects. Okay, so now we've created a purchase, and right now we said a purchase has a vendor and a purchase has a date. Let's add another one. We're going to say purchase has. And now we're going to want to do something a little bit more advanced. We want to create a code list because we want to say we have a purchase type. And that type corresponds to a set of codes like clothing or entertainment. So we're going to say the field is name type. Now we can create a list of budget categories. So I'm going to call this budget category list. And now we can enter values. Say food, clothing, mortgage. We'll just add a few more. Insurance and entertainment. Then we go ahead and we got to say this is a code. Then we add it. Now, if we look at our table now, clear and reload our table, you'll see it added a whole bunch of facts creating this budget category list. That'll be important later on when I'll show you how we enter that. So again, remember, we're creating this thing type. We're basically creating a template of what a purchase will look like. So let's finish that. We want to say a purchase has, and we're going to add two more. Let's just pretend that we want to maybe keep pictures for inventory. Say we want to have it for insurance purposes. So we're going to say we have a picture, which would be an image. And one more thing. Let's say we want to create a Boolean, and we're going to call it whether this purchase is in the budget or not, and we'll say it's Boolean. Boolean means true false, and we'll add that. Now we've added a bunch of facts. We can look at our table. We'll reload that. You see we have all the facts. We can save this. Now what we're doing here is when we create these, is you can see it's creating a form. So we can enter specific things that correspond to the template that we just built. We're going to go ahead and talk more about things and thing types in the next screencast. So this concludes our creation of facts, and you'll see that in EZKB each layer builds upon the previous layer. Thank you. Enjoy EZKB.